convoy months after detention. Governor Makinde Adeleke moved to end Oyo-Osun boundary disputes. House of Representatives reschedules session was Rivers State Administrator. On the foreign scene, President Zelensky accuses China of supplying Russia with artillery and gunpowder. Good evening. This is news at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Ademola Raphael. The Magistrates Court in Apapa has freed the 17-year-old minor Alabi Quadri, who went viral ahead of the 2023 general elections for standing in front of the convoy of a former Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Magistrate Ademola Olorunfemi freed him following the legal advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Dr. Babajide Martins. The magistrate confirmed that the legal advice issued by the DPP showed that there was no evidence to substantiate the allegation of armed robbery against the minor. Quadri and another defendant, Muiz Animashan, were standing trial alongside 3 others for the offense of armed robbery. In an interview with journalists after the court sitting, counsel for Quadri, Inibehe Effiong, commended the DPP for standing by the truth. He also demanded that the Lagos State Commissioner of Police and the Inspector General of Police remove the DPO of Amukoko Divisional Headquarters and subject him to trial, along with other officers who participated in what he called a sinister scheme of framing up a teenager for armed robbery at the behest of rogue area boys. The lawyer also demanded that the Nigeria Police Force should pay the sum of 100 million naira to his client as compensation, and they should also tender a public apology.
We just finished the proceedings before Court 9 at the State Court of Papa. We came this morning regarding the case of Alabi Quadri, a 17-year-old teenager who came to fame in 2023 during the election when he spontaneously jumped and stood in front of the convoy of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. You would recall that his photograph at the time became an internet sensation, and Nigerians became very interested in his case. Following that, a lot of people made donations to him, and his matter was widely reported. Quite sadly, people in the community some people in the community, so-called area boys, felt entitled to be settled in quote or to be appeased, and they demanded that part of the monies you donated to Quadri be given to them.
Still in the courts, Chidinma Ojukwu, a university undergraduate and the prime suspect in the murder of CP Television CEO Michael Osifo Ataga, today testified before a Lagos State High Court sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square, recounting how she discovered his lifeless body in a short-let apartment in Lekki on 15 June 2021. The former 300-level mass communication student at the University of Lagos, who opened her defense before trial judge Justice Yetunde Adesanya, stated that she had returned from buying food and drinks, knocked on the door, but received no response. She then pushed it open, only to find blood on the floor and Ataga lying in the pool of blood. She disclosed that she dropped everything and rushed to him, adding that his eyes were half shut and he had no pulse. She stated that in panic, she wiped the blood off herself, changed clothes, and packed her belongings, including a brown envelope containing Ataga's bank statements, ID cards, and documents belonging to one Mary Johnson. She also took some of his jewelry and left the apartment in a cab. Justice Adesanya has adjourned the case to 28th April for Chidinma to conclude her testimony and for the continuation of the trial. Away from legal matters, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has said he has already met his Oyo State counterpart, Seyi Makinde, to seek an amicable resolution to the boundary disputes involving the 2 states. The Oluwo of Iwo, Oba Abdulrasheed Akanbi, recently raised the alarm over violent clashes between the people of Oteoba in Iwo and those from Lagelu local government area of Oyo State. Oba Akanbi alleged that land grabbers from Lagelu have been attacking people in villages under Iwo such as Ogunwajo, Eleye, Molamo, Paku, Ejemoja, Oloya, Arikese, Eleweran, Olofa Ogundiran, and Molafe. Providing an update in a statement in Osogbo today, the spokesperson for the Osun governor, Olawale Rasheed, said the two met at the Ibadan residence of the Oyo governor to discuss the boundary issue. Rasheed said the resolution from the meeting included the need for peaceful engagement and the settlement of all outstanding issues, while they directed their deputies to meet with leaders of the two communities involved. The National Boundary Commission had previously visited the disputed areas to collect data from documentary and oral evidence to determine the exact boundary between the two states. However, the federal agency has yet to release its reports despite repeated follow-ups by stakeholders, creating a vacuum that is being exploited by various groups. In another development, the Minister of Power, Ademola, has disclosed that approximately 150 million Nigerians now have access to adequate electricity, while 80 million still lack reliable power. He made this known on Thursday during the 2025 Ministerial Sectoral Update Conference held in Abuja, where he spoke alongside the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Malagi, and other key stakeholders. Ademola stated that the progress stems from Nigeria's participation in the Mission 300 initiative, an ambitious joint effort by the World Bank and the African Development Bank aimed at providing electricity access to 300 million Africans by 2030. According to Ademola, Nigeria, with a population of over 240 million, currently provides adequate electricity access to 150 million people. However, he emphasized that the issue is not merely access, but the reliability of that access. The minister further urged global financiers to prioritize strengthening Nigeria's power grid alongside off-grid solutions, warning that over-reliance on renewables risks leaving urban areas and industries behind.
Millions of Nigerians. That is Mission 300, and we're making good progress in this. And I'm happy to tell you that out of the 300 million Africans that the World Bank and AFDB wants to give energy access to, Nigeria is in a position to claim nothing less than 25% of this, which is about 75 million Nigerians. So when we presented our compact, they agree with us. Because as it is today in Nigeria, a country with over about 240 million people, we have access for 150 million people already, while about 80 million people lack access to adequate electricity in Nigeria. The issue is not really about access, it's about the reliability of this access. And reliability is measured in terms of stability of the access and affordability of this access, which is what we are working on. So when we are presenting our compact, we told them that when you are extending energy access to these additional 300 million people, let's not focus on renewable energy alone. It will be appropriate for rural environment, rural communities. But we should also focus on strengthening the grid infrastructure so that those that already have access, the access will be made reliable. Otherwise, how do we explain a lot of Nigerian companies who have opted out of the grid and started generating captive power for themselves? It's because of non-reliability of the existing access. So we have to focus on the infrastructure, both power evacuation, transmission, and distribution infrastructure, and they have agreed with us. So Nigeria is a major focus of.
Moving on, the ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives on Rivers State has rescheduled its interactive session with the administrator of the state, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas. On Wednesday, the committee had directed Ibas to appear before it for a comprehensive interactive session today at the National Assembly complex. However, in a statement by House spokesman Akin Rotimi, the change in time followed a formal request from Ibas. He noted that the committee has acknowledged the request and is in the process of coordinating a new date for the session and will, in the spirit of transparent and effective oversight, inform the public once the rescheduled date is confirmed. On March 18, President Bola Tinubu imposed an emergency rule on oil-rich Rivers State and suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odo, and all the members of the House of Assembly for 6 months. The president immediately nominated Ibas as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state for the first 6 months. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bar Association NBA Port Harcourt branch has come out strongly against the conduct of the sole administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, retired, accusing him of constitutional violations and undermining democratic governance. In a strongly worded press statement signed by the 8-branch chairman, the NBA said it was deeply concerned by recent developments in the state under the sole administration model imposed following the declaration of a state of emergency. The lawyer's body describes the continued interference with constitutionally guaranteed structures, including the suspension of elected state officials and recent appointments made by the sole administrator, as unlawful, provocative, and injurious to democratic institutions. The press release emphasized that the NBA, as a body committed to upholding the rule of law, cannot remain silent while the constitutional order is, in their words, brazenly disregarded. The Bar Association also called attention to the alleged harassment and intimidation of citizens, especially those who have openly criticized the state of emergency or attempted to protest peacefully. Elsewhere, the recent collapse of a Ponzi scheme known as CBEX in Nigeria has again brought to the fore discussions about how citizens of the country continue to fall victim despite several warnings from regulatory authorities. This report takes a look at the history of Ponzi schemes in Nigeria.
Nigeria's long-standing battle with Ponzi scheme has continued to weave a dark tale of financial deception, stretching over decades and claiming the savings and dreams of millions. Each collapse follows a familiar pattern of unrealistic promises, economic hardship, and regulatory shortcomings, leaving many Nigerians trapped in a cycle of hope and betrayal. The term Ponzi scheme traces its origin to Charles Ponzi, who in the 1920s defrauded investors by promising astronomical returns using the money from new recruits to pay earlier investors. When recruitment eventually slowed, the scheme collapsed. In Nigeria, this dangerous formula has thrived since the 1980s as what began as small-scale scam has evolved into sophisticated, large-scale digital platforms such as CBEX, the latest major Ponzi operation. Recently, the collapse of CBEX has reignited public outrage after confirmation that the platform, which promised high returns through vague investment models, has folded. CBEX exhibited classic Ponzi hallmarks, including unrealistic profit promises, dependence on new investors, and aggressive recruitment strategies. Videos circulating online show distraught investors at CBEX's Lagos office demanding answers, while in Ibadan, the company's office was ransacked by angry investors earlier this week.
Their office. This is their office. Níwájú CBEX, wọ́n ti fọ́ kíní STT màbí.
Although the platform claimed it had been operating since 2017, investigations revealed that CBEX only commenced activities in Nigeria in 2024, and its domain registration timeline contradicted its public claims. CBEX promised users a 100% return on investment within 30 days. Investments were accepted solely in US dollars, with no publicly disclosed minimum or maximum limits, making it attractive to a broad audience. The platform's website mimicked reputable exchanges like Bybit, creating a false sense of credibility despite having no ties to recognized financial institutions. Last Thursday, users reported that withdrawals had been suspended, with CBEX citing system upgrades and promising restoration of services by April 15. However, ongoing delays and reports of aggressive customer service representatives urging additional deposits have fueled fears of fraud. Although the exact financial losses are still unclear, online sentiment compares CBEX's collapse to past schemes like MMM and Rackstally, suggesting widespread financial damage. The situation has sparked heated debate about greed and desperation, with some individuals expressing little sympathy for victims, arguing that repeated warnings about the platform were ignored. One of Nigeria's earliest recorded Ponzi schemes was Umana in 1980. It promised high returns but eventually collapsed, leaving a significant number of people in financial ruin. By 2015, Ponzi schemes had become more organized and widespread with the arrival of Nigeria, a Russian-originated platform that promised 30% monthly returns through a peer-to-peer donation model. The scheme quickly attracted 3 million Nigerians, but in December 2016, it crashed, causing an estimated loss of 18 billion naira, equivalent to about $60 million. Experts warn that one major sign of Ponzi scheme is the promise of guaranteed abnormal returns. Companies that are sure unusually high or consistent profits, especially to early investors, are often operating fraudulently. Another warning signal is the lack of registration with regulatory bodies such as the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Securities and Exchange Commission. These authorities are responsible for monitoring investment activities and investigating suspicious operations, and their absence often signals illegitimacy. Ponzi schemes also tend to claim they are investing in high-risk portfolios to justify the unrealistic returns they promise, but in reality, there is often little to no actual investment activity taking place. Poor documentation is another red flag, as genuine companies maintain proper licensing records and a transparent ownership structure, unlike Ponzi operators who provide limited or questionable documents to avoid accountability. Leadership structures in such schemes are often vague, making it difficult to trace responsibility when they collapse. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has issued a public alert concerning the activities of 58 companies allegedly operating illegal Ponzi schemes under the guise of offering investment opportunities. According to a statement issued by EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale in Abuja, the commission stated that these companies are neither registered with the Central Bank of Nigeria nor with the Securities and Exchange Commission, making their operations illegal. The EFCC revealed that it has taken legal action against many of the entities, leading to the conviction of 5 companies, while another 5 have pleaded guilty and are awaiting further judicial processes. As Nigeria continues its battle against financial scams, authorities urge the public to remain vigilant and verify the legitimacy of any investment opportunity before committing their hard-earned resources.
You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come. Nigeria police to sanction officers seen in viral video receiving money from Chinese nationals. We will bring you more on this when we return.
Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1909. Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we will risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
By Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National
You're welcome back. This is still news at 7 on Western Spring Television. A reminder of our headlines. Court frees minor Alabi Quadri. He stood before Peter Obi's convoy months after detention. Governor Makinde Adeleke moved to end Oyo-Osun boundary disputes. House of Representatives reschedules session with Rivers State Administrator. On the foreign scene, President Zelensky accuses China of supplying Russia with artillery and gunpowder. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, has embarked on a working visit to Niamey, Niger Republic's capital. This comes amid a frosty relationship between Nigeria and Niger. According to a statement on Thursday via his ex-handle, Tuga was received by his Nigerian counterpart, Bakari Zangari. He stated that rebuilding trust and fostering regional stability remains central to Nigeria's diplomatic efforts. According to him, the engagement also addressed pressing shared concerns, including migration management, the fight against desertification, and the revitalization of the Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission. The minister stated that Nigeria and Niger remain united in their commitment to advancing regional peace and development. Both West African nations have been having lingering tensions following the July 2023 coup in Niger. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, under the chairmanship of President Bola Tinubu, had imposed stringent sanctions on Niger and advocated for the restoration of constitutional power. The Nigeria Police Force on Thursday said it would sanction its personnel captured in a viral video receiving money from Chinese nationals. In the viral video, some Chinese were seen handing out naira notes to the policemen in a lined-up formation. The incident sparked outrage on social media, with many Nigerians expressing disappointment. The footage captures the moments the officers, fully armed and in uniform, receiving cash from the foreign nationals in what appeared to be a coordinated and deliberate exercise. Worried by the situation, Force spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi, in a statement today, condemned the conduct of its officers, describing their actions as unprofessional and unethical. He stated that their actions do not represent the established ethics, standards, and core values of the police force, emphasizing the commitment of the force to upholding professionalism and maintaining public trust. However, the Chinese national featured in the widely circulated video issued a statement clarifying the incident and offering an apology for the misunderstanding it sparked online. In a statement signed by Mr. Jiang for the Chinese delegation, strongly denied any wrongdoing, asserting that no money was offered or demanded inappropriately and no bribe was given.
蒋总跟他们发小费了。走开。这都是赖拉，都是1000的赖拉给的。蒋夫人，来，200赖拉相当于那个1块钱。发钱了。
On the foreign scene,